Hi. So in this video, I'll show you how to run Docker in Pycharm and how to debug your code in Pycharm while it's running in a Docker container. Um, so I've set up a new project with the basics of Docker um, for testing purpose. So for demonstrating this functionality in Pycharm. So this is a Docker compose file, and this is a Docker file. So basic Docker file that comes from Python, setting this as working directory, and um, adding my current test directory into um, test directory inside this working directory on the container, adding requirements.txt from here to temp folder in the container, then installing all those dependencies. We already have pip since we inherit from the space Python image. In requirements.txt, I only have PyTest, which I use here to run all the tests. And tests has been copied in the working directory here. So we have this in our container. My containers, so this is a service I've created. This is the container name, and this is the Docker file. Um, so far, straightforward. So let me show you how to run it through the terminal. Um, and check if our code actually works before we emerge into debugging on Pycharm. So let's building the image. Okay, and this is the image I just built 4 seconds ago. So big image. Now let's run this test service from our terminal. Docker compose, run, remove container after running it. Yeah, one test passed, and this is a test. This is a test file, and this test has passed. So good. Now make sure you pay attention to this section here. There is no run symbol, even though it's a test, and that is because we don't have a interpreter set up so far. Okay. So now let's go and set up an interpreter. Add an interpreter from Docker, and this is the image we just built. Docker on Pycharm test. Say OK, and you will see a play sign here shortly. It's indexing, and there you go. There's a play sign. Now, since we have the interpreter which is using the image that we just built here through the terminal, now we can directly run it here. And you can see the test fast. Yeah, you can also set a breakpoint directly here. There you go. We can also add new code and run it right there without rebuilding the image. We can make modifications in the code and run it without rebuilding the image. See, it failed as per expected. Okay. Now, if we were to add a new dependency, let's say import Boto3. Now this would not work because our image does not have Boto3. And there's the error. No module name Boto3 as expected. So we'll have to recreate the image. Now there are two ways. The first one is I showed you here, where you go and build. But what if you don't want to do it? What if you want to use Pycharm for it? So terminal is old school. Let's do Pycharm. So just click here and it will start building your image. Actually, this runs this service, display play sign just runs the service. So now that you ran it, you can see that in edit configuration, you have this new configuration that was created. So go in edit configuration, and this is the one that we just ran, test service. You can add multiple services here. Now we want to build every time we run this service. So let's go here and say build. So build and always, and okay. Now if you go click play here or click play here, you'll see that it starts building the image again. Uh, but this would still give an error when we run this test because we haven't put photo3 in our requirements.txt file yet. So let's put it here, save. Now go back to Docker Compose and let's run all the services and it will build by default. Oh, sorry, this we haven't changed the configuration to build by default. For test service, we have changed the configuration to build by default. So there you go, starts building. And before you know, a new image has been built. And since our interpreter that we set is using this Docker on Pycharm test latest image, which was again rebuilt right now. Now, if you go and run this, it should not error out. There you go, passed. Um, yeah, and that's about it. And I know it's confusing. It's confusing even for me. So watch this video again and again, and you should be fine. Oh, one more thing, just in case if you want to well, that's a different video. Okay, never mind. Thank you.